However, hello, I do not know where to write about it. So here, maybe it will come off as another scary story, although it looks more like the plot of a cheap thriller. Or not like that. It's probably similar to hundreds of other stories that haven't been published for a long time. I mean those stories from 2003 to 2005. But do you know what's the most remarkable thing about it all? The fact that this is not an invention of my sick fantasy. The scary thing is that this is reality. I'm ready to swear. I hope there won't be any typos. My hands are shaking. So, I've been living in the wonderful city of St. Petersburg since I was born. A truly beautiful city, but it's not that important. As they say, my house is my fortress. And so it was. I was really proud of my three-piece. Whatever I need, do whatever you want. There's even enough room. I had two cats who were given to me for a housewarming party. These are two cute lumps of wool that can't even scratch. They let themselves be picked up, and in general, they can do anything with themselves. Besides, both of my Maine Coon cats. They are huge cats with tassels on their ears. I won't describe the cats, but they are really very beautiful, not ordinary striped badgers. It was just a fairy tale for me. I think my joy will be understood by those who, like me, have just moved out from their parents. It all started about 3 months ago, probably. A spontaneous feeling of anxiety, completely gratuitous. You drink your green tea with chamomile. You watch the news, there's a terrorist attack again, and flowers from Holland are banned. And you feel like they're looking at you, with a steady gaze, as if not even at you, but somehow inside you, or something. And you're sitting there, unable to move, staring blankly at the TV, drenched in cold sweat and panting. Panic attacks. Maybe. Previously, probably, the visitors of this site, love to tickle my nerves and so on. But in general, I can't say that I'm really afraid of something. I watched horror movies and other crap like cartoons. And here, you just sit, and fear grips you with icy fingers. I can imagine how stupid it looks. And at the same time, everything lasted relatively short, from 5 to 20 minutes. And it happened, by the way, everywhere. On the street, in public transport, at work, everywhere. As a result, I was shaking from every rustle. I do not know why, but it got worse later. Phone calls, silence on the phone, dishes falling from the shelves. Surely everyone watched the Battle of the Psychics. Exactly the same as in evil houses with spirits. My insomnia was added to this. Rather, no, what kind of insomnia is this? I was terribly afraid to sleep. I drank liters of coffee. Because when I closed my eyes, I could also hear footsteps. Very close. And it feels like someone is breathing right into your back. There's a wall behind your back. The feeling of being stared at has become constant. She was slowly losing her mind. The cats were screaming at night, and the neighbors had moved away. Can you imagine? Literally everyone who was on my second floor has left. Who's going where? Someone went to the country. Someone even moved out to the cottage in winter. It's quite strange. And in the end, I was the only one left on my floor. And the dishes kept falling down. The water from the tap started pouring itself. Moreover, the shelves on which the dishes stood were closed, and the faucet was turned off. By the way, I believed in all kinds of mysticism. I stopped sleeping altogether. The cats meowed hollowly, stared into the void and jumped on the walls, tearing the wallpaper. I was terrified of being alone, so I spent most of my time with friends, in clubs, and anywhere, as long as there were literally people around. Those I told either didn't believe me or thought I was using it. Someone jokingly suggested calling some fortune tellers, which seemed like a brilliant idea to me at the time. She was walking around the house, waving some kind of stick soaked in holy water from a spring in the Urals, according to her words. She hit my cat with a stick, saying that he was possessed by an evil spirit and all the troubles were from him or something like that, after which I escorted her out relatively quickly without giving her any money. Nonsense in general. Huge bruises under my eyes, dangling clothes, because I started to lose weight quickly, which I used to dream about. The calls, by the way, continued. The phone was literally bursting. And how many numbers have I changed? I threw the phone away, because even when I turned it off, the calls continued. Besides, it felt like the sound wasn't even coming from the phone. But it only got worse, because they started ringing the intercom. Only now it wasn't silence. It was a monotonous babble. I don't know what to call it. Completely incomprehensible sounds, but still speech in an incomprehensible language, which, I think, does not exist, and a complete lack of intonation. She doesn't seem to be there at all. Moreover, the timbre instantly changed, creating the feeling that there were several people there at once. Creatures, I would say, because a person is simply incapable of talking like that. Besides, there's no one on the street. It was terrible. Knocking on the door was added at night, each time at a different time, for loud knocks echoing through the apartment, and then silence. It was damn scary to approach the pupil, which, accordingly, I did not do. I do not know how long I had not slept at that moment, but I looked terrible. I moved in with my parents, which was the last option. For a while, about a week, probably everything seemed to be fine, and then all over again. My parents were horrified, and they poured holy water on everything. It didn't work. Then they kicked me out of the apartment, shouting, "Get out." Can you imagine how insulting that was? My own parents, waving their hands, kicked me out. Bursting into tears, she left for the country. It's cold and dark, and the house itself is right by the woods. That is, the forest begins literally behind him. By the way, I took the cats with me because it was my only company. They've become no less weird than I am. They were always meowing, staring at something for hours, rushing at everything. They became so fearful that they literally jumped on me like on a tree, shining with huge frightened eyes, flattening their ears. There are no intercoms in Dockers, of course. Therefore, they began to knock on the glass. And do you know the sound when the chalk is drawn so sharply across the board? Here, the same disgusting sound was added, but not exactly deafening, but muffled. I took a chance once and went outside. By the way, my cats were always rushing there, tearing the door it's wooden with their claws. Then it seemed to me that I saw a dark silhouette, hunched over. I didn't look closely for a long time, but immediately ran back with the speed of the wind, grabbing the cats. I think I shouldn't have come out then, because it got even worse. This silhouette began to appear to me everywhere, literally everywhere. And at night it seemed to me that shadows were running across the ceiling, which could not be. I'm not even talking about falling things, footsteps, the feeling of being stared at, the behavior of cats, and the knocking, which, by the way, has become continuous. Desperate, I tried to change houses, either with friends. Then I rented an apartment again and immediately moved out. Hotels, trains, even spent days on the street. It's terrible. I'd rather die. Everything repeats, and the knocking becomes more insistent. Now I'm writing this with shaking fingers from a hotel in a completely unfamiliar city in Belarus. I'm scared. I'm terribly scared. Every step is difficult. I do not know how long I have not eaten. I don't know how long I stay awake either. On my bedside alarm clock, 1:19 flashes red dot already more. I do not know what to do. I am afraid. It's called animal fear, sort of. Or not. Not the point. I sincerely hope that this will end. It's terribly scary. But now I hear the knock on the door again. And it's not the staff, I can be sure of that. I've turned off the lights everywhere. I don't want to be found. I'm scared. I don't want to, please. I'm scared. I hope this is a stupid joke. You are welcome. I don't want to run. It's a waste of time. It's horrible. I can hear him again. A knock. That damn knock. And I think I'll open it.